So, America sucks.
Yeah, we had to go through all the laughs and get through everything else that happened this week in order to be able to get to all the other stuff that's going on in America. This has been a very interesting week within our storied history as a country. Friday, June 24th? Yeah, June 24th, the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. For those who are uninformed, Roe v. Wade, help me out.
Just gives constitutional right to abortions.
I'm about to say one of y'all.
I don't remember what the actual
I want to make sure I got it.
That's what it is.
So there's like a podcast available that you can listen to. It gives you
Constitutional right for
I just want to make sure I ain't leaving anything else out. Because I knew that.
That's the main.
There's some other stuff tied into it, but that's the main overlying thing.
Yeah. So it's been a very, like I said, it's an interesting week. I mean, it's one of those weeks where you kind of just feel like no matter what's going on, like everything just kind of like weighs down eventually. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those things where
everything sucks.
Yeah,
everything is fucked. Everything sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
It don't make any sense because it's just like you see all these things going on. It's like also the 50th anniversary of Title IX, and we're sitting here celebrating all of the strides that have been made for women, and then we turn around and
attack women.
Yeah, we take away their rights, for lack of a better word. Like we're literally messing with one of their freedoms.
I feel like at this point, it's really no. It's hard for me to get there and just dig into the guts of everything because it is what it is. It's kind of just I'm just trying to figure out how to just process everything just kind of just not being great. I feel like Roe v. Wade, that's being repealed and just the next step in a year that it's $6 for a gallon of gas. Inflation,
more school
shootings. I saw something the other day that said right now with the way housing prices are, the average American can't afford to buy a house.
That too.
It's just so much bad stuff, and it's just constantly just over and over again. I just feel like in general, just the tone of everything is bad. Because even with the abortion thing, if you look at the public polling on that, even though the Republicans passed that, most Republican just voters, average Americans, either they didn't really have they might think abortion is wrong, whatever, that's the right, but they didn't really feel a need to overturn it, and a lot of Republicans didn't want it overturned. So it's just one of those things where why? You know what I mean? Yeah. Just for an ideological victory, and honestly, what is for all the just awfulness that's just that people have been experiencing, what was the was it really worth it? And it's just constant just L's, as kids say. Just take loss after loss after loss and just bad news. After a while, it just kind of just beats you down, you know? And I don't know how to react to that.
It's crazy. Every time, though, it surprises me every time. How crazy and how I was not, 3 years ago, I would never have expected this. First time I saw this, that they were reconsidering this this bill or this law, I was like, is this real? Is not fake? I looked it up and everything, and I was like, oh, okay, wow, they're really reevaluating whether this is constitutional, and just seeing that on a Friday morning, no less, I was just dumbfounded. Like you said, there's so many things that have happened over the past. Really, the last few years, we went through a pandemic.
I was about to say, we completely forgot about that.
We're still in the pandemic, right? Shooting after shooting, racism is still here.
Pandemic, I guess, it's we've kind of just stopped caring about it, but
it hasn't been solved.
It has not been solved, and honally,
it's actually the scary point where they haven't put more money towards the vaccine thing yet. That actually could be, it has been a big issue.
We're kind of to the point now that there's so many variants that vaccines kind of just don't stop you from COVID at all. It's the.
I mean, keeping it.
Keeping it sick, right? But
and that's what they were always supposed to do.
Even boosted though, you don't. Nothing. So we're just things are just not great. I just with a win. I don't know, and this is. Right now, if you live in Texas, you can't get an abortion. That's the biggest state. I don't know if it's population-wise, but just the biggest landmass.
And here's the biggest thing for a lot of people that don't have the means to. I mean, number one, if you want to get an abortion, and they say, "Oh, okay, we'll go across lines and go to different states."
Everybody can afford that.
Yeah, and then think about it. All the other states that are close to Texas are also probably going to be feeling the Southern the coast there, Louisiana, Arkansas. I can't do a whole geological map right now, but you know what I'm saying?
I was listening to a podcast and they were saying if you live in Mississippi, it's just a 3-4 hour just to find a place.
That's where this repeal came from or originated from or something. I don't know.
Oh, actually, my bad. I'm sorry. Texas is the biggest state like in the continent,
Landmass?
like in the actual continent of the United States. Alaska's the biggest state, period. So.
What was you look at Alaska?
Yeah.
Out here getting wins with no representation in the Senate.
Way to go, Alaska. Shout out to our Alaskan listeners. Shout out to Anchorage and Juneau.
Yo, man, we got some random countries. We may have an Alaskan.
Yeah, man. How do you guys feel about abortion out there?
Boy, where you even getting abortion in Alaska?
Oh, I mean, they're a red state, so like they probably
They have one clinic.
Yeah.
It's gone. They have like one Planned Parenthood.
No, they scared them off decades ago. So I mean,
I would imagine they have a lot of empty space on their black market.
Bro, and the biggest thing.
Well, that's the worst part now. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm about to say. That's where it gets sad now, where it's like overturning this case doesn't get rid of abortion. It just means that people are going to take a lot of unsafe precautions in getting abortions. Like, I mean, you see that little scene in like A Raisin in the Sun where a lady gets an abortion, or think about getting an abortion in like an apartment with a coat hanger. Yeah. There's going to be some people that got to do some stuff like that now to get an abortion done, and it's just like crazy because it's like, look, people think that people just make abortion into a fun thing where it's like, oh, okay, it alleviates me of a mistake. And it's like, nah, that's not the way this goes. And I mean, even if somebody does feel like I'm not capable of having a child right now, that is their right. But the biggest thing is there are women who have like ectopic pregnancies or other things that go on with them, and they have to terminate their pregnancy early in order to save their lives.
Yeah.
And y'all are basically making it to where it's like, oh, okay, for some of y'all that want to overturn abortion completely, because some states aren't going to be like, well, we had this circumstance, this circumstance, this circumstance. Y'all just going to get rid of it overall, and it's like, yo, if you get rid of it, like, that does endanger some women. And, I mean, be real with it. Do y'all know how much stuff costs? We have a whole food formula shortage for babies right now. Abbott is still shut down in, like, a plant. People have babies right now, they can't afford them. We about to have a whole lot of dumpster babies out here, bro. Like, people are going to do a lot of just crazy... no, that is word. People gonna do a lot of wild things to alleviate themselves of having children.
The demand for abortions isn't gonna change.
Yeah,
it's not.
The means by which people get them now are gonna change. They're not gonna be safe, and it's like no matter what your stance is on abortion, I feel like the biggest thing is people have to have the right to choose.
Yeah.
If you can't make a choice, then yes, we're going down a road where it's just like, all right, my life is dictated for me. That's not liberty. Like, what are you talking about?
And it's like the ripple effects of this weren't even considered. Like, I don't know, the average, like. Just thinking about the foster care system, the adoption system, like it's already stretched thin, and so now they're like, I don't know if it's from a religious basis or where this is coming from, like why those Supreme Court justices ruled this way, but like it's so much. We don't have any, like our healthcare isn't that great, like the childcare isn't that great. It's expensive as shit, like how you said, like a lot of parents can't afford to like work and send their kid to school or childcare. While they're at work paying for bills for their kids. Like, it's so many ripple effects of this. So many dumpster babies, like you said, that's probably going to happen as a result of this. And some people who, like, have been through some... I don't know what the ruling is for, like, people who, like, rape victims and stuff like that. But, like, it seems like they can't even... Like, they have to fight or argue or prove that they were raped or whatever just to express their natural right.
Some Republicans will argue that's a blessing even through like horrible means.
Yeah, and I mean like look, if a woman chooses to go through with having a baby that her abuser, I don't even know what the word
whatever the word is.
Yeah, but having a baby with their abuser or whatever it is, or for that type of thing. Number one, that takes a lot of strength from the woman, but every person doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is, bro, like looking in that child's face every day is not easy for some people.
No,
and like, yeah, people be like, well, what about adoption? Do you know how many kids are able to get adopted now and are sitting around in foster care? And this is within the country, even with abortion, bro. Yeah. Like, look, man, you can say whatever you want about, you're killing kids and those type of things, where it's just like, bro, y'all don't understand. There's so many circumstances here. It's not black and white. Yeah. It's such a complex and deep issue, and you just feel so bad because, like, you sound like you just, like, repeating every buzz phrase, but it's like, bro, like, look at the numbers in Congress. You have a bunch of, generally speaking, you have a bunch of old white men making choices about everybody's vagina. Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? That makes, like, literally zero sense, where it's just like, bro, like, they don't have any autonomy. Y'all aren't giving them a choice. Like, I mean, you got to come to one of the other states that have these abilities to even do it. And if I live in deep Texas, how the hell am I getting to, give me a state, I think Nevada maybe.
Yeah,
it's either Arizona or
Nevada. It take me 3-4 hours just to get out of Texas. Texas is that big. So.
I can't afford a plane ticket. Right. I don't have a car. What am I doing?
If I have a car, I gotta pay whatever for gas just to get,
bro. And I gotta get to an abortion. Yeah. So either you gonna do that, or maybe, hey, the Mexican border's closer. I'm going down.
They have like the pills that you can like order and have them sent, and you can take a pill. Yeah. It's like Plan B. But even then, like there's a fear like the Congress can, what's the word? They can attack those next, because like if you're against abortion, you're not just against abortions at a clinic. You want all abortions gone. So like next, you can't even order a pill.
There's something about privacy in that too,
About to
right?
say,
Like you can't really search these things like how you used to or something. I don't know.
And something, Darren, you said like you never thought like this could happen. And I didn't think it happened either. So now I'm at the point now, like, where does it stop? Where's the line, right? Like now,
so
like,
with Clarence, fucking Uncle
Thomas, yeah. Like, is it gonna get to the point?
Clarence and his wife, I gave up with.
Like, is it gonna get to the point where you get hassled just to buy condoms or like birth control? Like where does it end?
Man, I'm about to say like now I can't get prophylactic.
Yeah,
I'm about to say like, bruh. So what you
everything's on the table.
What do we just turn this into? We turn every state into like a place where you gotta have babies. Like I mean,
you're already overcrowded in the first place.
We're overpopulated. Bruh, people can't afford the kids they got. Yeah. Like the biggest thing is, you know how many people sitting around with like 6, 7, 8 kids that they can't afford to take care of, and we're just gonna keep making them add more babies to this. Yeah. Like it's just ridiculous when you think about all this, and it's like it's just disappointing. Like again, like. I don't care what your view is on, bruh. I don't care what your view is on abortion. It's just like, bruh, the lack of. When we start getting rid of people's choices, that is like a really scary thing. Like, yo,
this is the first constitutional right they did this for, right? Am I making that up? Or
I don't know.
That's a big one. I gotta look that up.
I don't know if they have done it. I don't know if it's been for something this like important.
Right.
Yeah, it impacts so many different people. Like, bruh, and I mean, it's like. Look, man, for every rich Republican senator that's against this thing, their daughter's probably gotten an abortion before. Like, bruh, no offense to me. Like, bruh, the circumstances, like, oh, okay, but y'all's were cool. Y'all's were different. So, it doesn't bother you.
A lot of the ones advocating for this can afford to keep their kids. So, good for you, but not everybody can do that.
Like, I just look at it as kind of like a wake-up call. Because I feel like, just speaking for myself personally, I think in the last year or so, I feel like I've gotten to the point, like I said earlier, something like that can never happen. So, when I see people going hard for, like who really are always like on the front lines protesting. Sometimes I'll admit I'm looking at them. Sometimes I'm just like, wow, like you guys are just going so hard, and you're just like over every like little decision, whatever, like that. Like why are you going so hard? Like you're fighting for something that's like not gonna ever change. Or you're fighting an invisible enemy. I was wrong. Like this is why we need the people who are going to fight and protest every weekend. Even 6, 7 months from now, when there's like an important crisis going on or something else, we need the people who are still fighting.
That was already out there.
We need
the ones that care.
Yeah,
they care so much.
Like it's important. Like literally, because like this is like such a big deal, and we gotta redouble our efforts, whatever, voting on like every level that you can vote against, because at this point, it's a battle, right? The Republicans gotta win, and honestly, again, I can't say Republicans, because most Republicans, conservatives, whatever you want to say, most rank and file Republicans and conservatives did not want this to get passed. It's like the upper echelon elite.
How many abortions they may have gotten?
I'm about to say, and thinking about that, like the slippery slope, like I feel for like LGBTQ plus people, because they're worried now, like why are we next? You know what I mean? And I can't. Can you sit there and tell them, oh, you're overreacting? No.
Man, and even that, it goes beyond party. It's like fundamental changes that need to occur with like, I've been saying it for like every time I've talked about it, I'm like, bro, a Supreme Court justice should not serve for life.
I was just about to say
a member of Congress or Senate should not serve for life, because it's wild. Like, I mean, again, and I've said this before, it's like, no, not to be offensive towards the things that she's accomplished or anything that she's done, Ruth Bader Ginsburg should not have been serving in the Supreme Court until her last days, and it's not to be mean to her in any type of way. She did some great things.
We shouldn't be having that countdowns to when, this person's 80, oh my God. The repercussions of them dying, you know what I mean? Like, that shouldn't be a thing.
Like, let's say Judge Sotomayor ends up not Congress, but ends up on the Supreme Court until like her 80th birthday, and then we have a Republican president, and then she croaks, and then we're getting another conservative.
Oh my God, please stay alive.
It's just so much that goes into it, and I mean it goes even beyond that, because I mean I know another thing we talked about is like gun laws and those type of things. It's like, bro, we're talking about conservative things, and it's just like, look, the biggest thing is the Supreme Court technically ain't really supposed to lean towards one or the other. It's just supposed to be analyzing the law and just be the court.
They're interpreting.
But we all have leanings, and so it's just like, all right, we're leaning one way or the other. And then the other thing is, I mean, why y'all afraid to pack the court? Add 2 more justices. At this point, it's not a balanced system. We have 6 conservative justices, I think 3 liberals. So I mean, that's not a balanced system. That is one interpretation of the law that will win every time.
Right?
Yeah, it'll be 5-4, and they'll win on the split every time. No, it won't be 5-4. It'll still be 6-3 because other dudes retiring. So it'll still be 6-3. And so the biggest thing is you're not getting a fair split. You're literally interpreting the law one way, and we're gonna see a lot of really strong liberal dissents where they're like, "This is wrong for X, Y, Z," but all right, cool, that don't matter. It's gonna happen, and it's just sad because we was doing the election thing. One of those stupid divisive issues. Oh, don't pack the court. Don't talk about that. That's an issue. And
I came from Joe.
But then Joe made like a committee or something to investigate it and try to make decisions on it. And so basically he tried to escape. And that committee basically got nowhere. And it's one of those things where it's like, these are things that need to be challenged and changed. And I mean, I'll be real with you. I would even think even if you did have like an outstanding liberal majority, that you may end up still needing to go back to the other side because things go too far one way. It just tilts it all. And it's it's just like, look, man, if we're gonna sit around and lie about we have a 2-party system and there's liberty for all and we want people to have equal opportunities for all these type of things, then you do have to make it so that we can equally analyze these situations and do it one way. Because right now the way it is whichever party's in charge wins it out every time. So it's just disappointing because it's just like, it's the same. I mean, same thing with House. To be real with you, going over whatever party's in charge is in charge. But with the Supreme Court, it's supposed to be just interpretations of the laws that are passed. Yeah. It shouldn't always come down straight up to the party lines where you just know it every time. That's why you do need to do that. Or maybe you have a finite number where it's like, look, within everything else we do it this way, but this needs to be 4-4 and moderate. In order to make it better. But I mean.
That's what you said about that lifetime appointment shit was like on the money. Like, and I was just talking to Lex about this the other day. Like, do they even do like mental evaluations of these folks? Recurrent, like on a frequent basis?
It goes what's her name? Barbara Feinstein or Dianne Feinstein. Yeah. Like she's I think in her late 80s, early 90s. She's still in the Senate, or she's still in the House. She did an interview and the dude said she had to get an aide to remind her about that. Yeah. And that's why I said it goes beyond the Supreme Court. Like these people should not be serving for life.
Yeah, there's a whole sort of like an Oprah article about it.
Bruh. What's her name's old as hell? Nancy Pelosi's old as hell, and I'm not trying to be ageist.
I googled her age like a couple years ago.
Were you surprised?
Like 80. I know she was like that old. I was like,
Nancy Pelosi's like 84, bro. Like I know.
Maxine Waters old too.
All right, look, I'm not problematic stances with that, but I don't mind.
And like honestly, it's not even just like the mental capacity because you can be sharp. And
I'm not saying you can. We ain't ageist, but
like we've seen our you see our grandparents and some are sharp.
My grandma's sharp as hell.
More importantly to me, it's like just that mindset of, what these people, they've been politicians their whole lives, so they got their political identity in the 70s, 60s, 80s, and it hasn't changed since then.
These are establishment Democrats, and we always talk about, why can't these other people make changes? Yeah, because the establishment's gonna win every time because
that's what their ideas are.
And I was like talking to my mother, I was like, people your age you gonna vote for the person that you've seen that's been up there for like years.
So like you can't
be mean.
So you can't have new ideas because. To be honest, a lot of people, once they get to a certain age, they're set in their ways.
Yeah. It's the establishment. And I hate using words like that. Those buzzwords that are used to just divide people within parties.
But I feel like now we gotta go back to that just buzzword shit after that.
That's what it is. It's like, bro, you have these establishment people who aren't gonna make changes. Or, it's the same. I mean, AOC said it like 2 weeks, like months ago, where she was like, these line of Democrats that still think you can go back there and solve everything with a glass of whiskey at 9 o'clock at night. Nigga, this is not your grandfather's Democratic Party and or Republican Party. The differences that are there are differences that existed for years, but there are things that can no longer be ignored because even if you look at things, it goes beyond race. These are class issues, and it's like, there's a lot of poor white people that can't afford shit either. So I mean, these are things that cannot be solved by like, handshake and we're gonna come to a truce, bruh. You know how many people have been left behind in truces? Mostly black people for years, but I mean, we've all been left behind because of handshake deals. It's just such a damn disappointing week. You just feel like. The same way that, I ain't gonna lie, when you said, he was like, I don't know, I never thought it could get this bad. I ain't gonna lie, even after the stuff with Trump, I kept seeing stuff like Roe v. Wade come up, and so I was disappointed, surprised with the fact they actually did it, but it was always in the back of my mind. Yeah. This could happen, just because you would always be able to line it up just right. And that's why it's like, if we go to like party stuff, when Democrats are scared to do stuff and they want to play nice, it's like, wow. Why y'all want to play nice with these niggas? They don't care about y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all want change or y'all wanted to see it with your hands tied? Because that's what y'all are doing.
And you mentioned Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump had a lot to do with this. Like
yeah.
I think we're still feeling the ripple effects of his presidency.
He got 2 justices.
Just his
2 justices. He reinvigorated
like
racism
all
that
the
was
gusto and
dormant.
bravado that just
A lot of it. There was this one senator, I think John something Cornyn or some shit, who was like, all right, Plessy versus Ferguson and board versus education. Next was on Brown versus board of education. I'm like, bro, like we really saying this like out loud like now, and I think I attribute a lot of that to Trump. There's a lot of people, especially in this whole Roe v. Wade, who pushed for this this repeal, like who were in his camp.
So I'm about to say it was something about one of the voting rights. Was it the Voting Rights Act of 1968 or something that needed to be
renewed or something?
Yeah, and there were questions about that a couple years ago when Trump was in office.
Honestly, I thought I saw something about I don't know if it was slavery or some other civil rights act that was like that too, like where it had to be renewed.
Yeah, you like renewing it.
I was looking at that, but
and people feel like, well, it's common sense that now everybody gets voting rights. Yeah, all right, so y'all start playing with red lines and doing everything else. So that's how it always
voting
goes.
rights still ain't fair, man. Like they still change the shit so
It's
people
name
don't
of the
have
game
the same
regardless.
access to vote.
It's
Like,
always
the same shit.
That's why it's like, you're like, basically the name of this episode is America Sucks. It's just like, yo, this is like, it's sad, it was kind of become like a typical week in America. Where it's just like, this was really big in terms of Roe v. Wade, but it's just like, there's so much disappointment. Bro, I watch the news every morning and it just kind of has become the same, like 3-4 stories. I like to make sure I'm informed. I like Good Morning America, but it's one thing where it's like, bro, I'm hear about Ukraine, people dying there. I'm gonna hear about inflation in the economy and, people trying to... recession fears and that type of thing. And then you were going to hear about Roe v. Wade, and it's just sad. And Uvalde, and I mean, the saddest thing about Uvalde is that's going to fade away. And
some arguing party just kind of is.
Bro, and that breaks your heart.
Shutting down the school.
I don't know what's happening, but it breaks your heart because it's just like, bro. I mean, America proved they don't care about kids after what happened at what's the name of that school where they shot them kids in Connecticut.
San Diego.
Yeah, at San Diego, America proved they don't care about kids, and I mean, Tamir Rice died. America didn't care about black kids.
Honestly,
So I mean,
with the gun law thing, I can't even. That's never gonna change.
Oh yeah, no, I got it.
One thing I've learned so. I don't watch the news. I just listen to 2 podcasts that I listen to
Tupac.
No, he's dead. If he was talking about this, that would just bring the aliens to that point.
Stop it.
He was talking about Trump too.
But I listen to 2 podcasts. One of them is called dang, I forgot what it's called. It's a good podcast. It's on the Ringer Network.
We'll drop it in the
yeah. The host is Derek Thompson. He works for Vox. He's really good. But anyway, he would basically he does an episode on just just whatever the current topic is, and he did one on gun. And basically his point was, he did a whole episode on gun laws and reform. And he was like, it's just really hard to have that debate because as he's kind of like us, where he didn't grow up around guns.
Yeah, if you're a northerner, it's different. Absolutely.
He didn't grow up around guns. It's not just guns. It's a culture.
Yes.
It's almost like hip hop for us, or whatever you want to see. Whatever is a part of your identity, or your favorite sports team, whatever. The gun thing is just such.
Down there in the South.
It's just more than just a gun. It's a whole culture for people. I just don't see how you can.
And I say South, but it does go beyond that. But in the South particularly, their gun culture is completely different.
That's their identity.
And the biggest thing and that's why it's so hard to explain, it's we're not, for most people, you're actually not trying to get rid of guns. It's just there has to be common sense checks in place to make sure that dudes that the guy that did Uvalde can't get a gun.
Yeah.
But for them, it feels like any type of encroachment on their Second Amendment right is too far. And it's bro, when the founding fathers wrote the Second Amendment, they had muskets. Yeah. I had to do this before I could shoot
fucking assault rifles. There's some guns you shouldn't have. Nobody's against your right to bear arms, but why do you have military grade shit?
That guy, he actually had a gun, or somebody who's done a lot of research on guns, and they were the things that an AR-16, 15, whatever can do to the body.
What?
It's
shred that shit.
They're not even good. They're not good hunting rifles. It destroys the meat.
Literally, they get destroyed.
It destroys
in out.
It destroys the carcass. If you want a prize or meat, it's not good for that type of hunting because you're not just getting off one round or one shot.
So have a pistol, have a hunting rifle, but do you need these assault rifles? No. And they're addressing abortion before this, and that's the part that really
honestly, we think it just can't happen to us because we're just living it in the moment. America might just had its run. and it's just coming to an end. Like it happens to
I
everybody.
think that more
The
and more
world's been
people do
around
that.
like
I get scared. That's
for
why I
like
start
not that we
projecting.
won't be around. England's still around. They're just not the world power they were 300-400
we just
years
moved
ago.
down the totem.
Yeah, you just moved down the totem, and whoever.
Well, you see, in order for us to move down the totem, we gotta be defeated.
I don't know.
That's why
Yeah,
City may
that's
not.
why-
That's why City may not be around. That's why I go. That's why I go to war at that
The
point.
biggest powers experience collapse.
Yeah,
Collapses.
you right. Usually we get 200. You get a little. Well, I guess I was looking at England. Well, England's been
You
a
might
long
get up.
standing. That's why it's like England's outside the ordinary.
Yeah.
You've probably been on top of it only like what, like not even 100 years yet.
Nah, bro, that's America.
Yeah, after the
World War II is
No, after
like out the gates too strong.
No, after the Industrial Revolution, like everybody got super
right,
rich
yeah.
off that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
when like it went
yeah,
to like
sky high.
So yeah, you might just be at the tail end of the movie here. I mean, not the movie, but just of like your ring.
Yeah, bro.
We like kind of like Drake has his run, or not Drake. Drake's still in his
Jay
run.
Z has his run. Eventually, it
Yeah, but you could crescendo down. You're just like an OG.
Bro, you still exist,
You're an OG.
cool.
You're a legend. People, your name still rings bells.
Bro. We can be
but
friends.
We can be France.
I don't think we want to be friends. We can be
But
brothers.
like
He
France,
was right.
Portugal, Spain, they all used to run shit like 200-300 years ago. Now they just whatever.
Portugal. Wow, we don't be Portugal.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
it's-
I'm not like Portugal.
They
Guys.
were halfway
I
responsible.
feel like
for
nobody
slavery.
speaks Portuguese.
Nigga, we got health issues, philosophical issues,
racism.
economic issues. Like,
To bring this full circle, how the hell you gonna tell people we can't get abortion, but you can't even give people universal health care?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, so many fundamental
Well,
issues.
universal child care. Like, there's a lot
Yeah,
of
I'm about
shit.
to say,
that
how
don't
am I-
balance out.
How am I taking care of this child?
Damn, that's smooth.